Hi everyone, this is Shawna Odette from the Flying Cat Academy. Welcome to lesson number 13. In this lesson, we'll be introducing more consonant blends. Let's set up the table. You're going to need the top 160 sight word list, the sight word study method instruction sheet, the card pack on which the student's currently working, some blank index cards for introducing new words, a highlighter, some markers, and some pencils. Moving on to the short vowel drill, you're going to need the teacher instruction sheet, the keyword pictures for the student, and the keyword sentence. For the phonemic awareness drill, you'll need the teacher instruction sheet and the tiles for the student. Moving on to the visual drill and the auditory drill, you'll need the instruction sheet and the card pack on which the student's currently working. For the blending drill, there's the instruction sheet and the little paper tiles that the teacher already has all laid out for the student in the correct order. Then we'll have the magnetic letter tile reading and spelling drills. For that one, you're going to need the cookie sheet with the magnetic letter tiles arranged in a rainbow shape. You'll have the syllable pounding instructions, which we'll use in every lesson from now on. There'll be the kinesthetic discovery instructions for when you're going to introduce a new phoneme and grapheme, which you probably won't do in this lesson because we already have some new content that we're introducing. You'll have the sheets for the lesson that were attached to the lesson plan. There will be a yes/no card sort as well. If you feel like your student doesn't need that card sort because they've mastered is it a closed syllable, then you can skip that part. And finally, you'll need the new cards for the new consonant blends that we'll be teaching today. After the lesson, you'll add those to the auditory and visual drill card pack. Let's do the sight word study method. Student, you'll take out your card pack of the words on which you're currently working, and you'll begin by reading through your card pack. When you get a word correct, you are going to put a check mark in the side of the card. Then you'll give the card pack to your teacher, and it's your teacher's turn to read. Teacher, you'll read each word, and the student will spell the word by writing it down on paper. If you encounter any problems, use your blocking strategies. When you're finished, you can have a discussion about which words are mastered. The mastered ones are going to leave the card pack. And if there's time, you can introduce a new sight word. Let's move on to the short vowel drill. With 2 fingers, you're going to trace the shape and say apple, ah. Do it as many times as your teacher deems necessary. And then you're going to take out your keyword sentence and you're going to stretch out the vowel sounds as you say each word. Let's do the phonemic awareness drill. You're going to need your colored tiles for this one. I'm going to tell you that your word is, let's just see, rip. Can you repeat that word? If I was going to use it in a sentence, I might say, I might rip the sheet. Okay, now I'd like you to build that word with your colored tiles. When you finish, tap each sound and then say the whole word. Okay, can you find the I in rip? Touch it. I'd like you to change the I to an aw. Do that now, and then what's your new word? Tap it and say it. Did you get rop? Not a real word. That's okay though. Let's move on. So if that is rop, can you find the ah in rop? Change the ah to an ah and tell me what your new word is. Tap it and say it. Did you get rap? If you did, good job. Now let's find the p in rap. Touch it. And I'd like you to change the p into a f. Tap it and say it. What do you get? Did you get raff? Okay, not a real word, but let's turn it into a real word. Let's add a t to the end of raff. What do you have now? Tap it and say it. Did you get raft? All right, good work. Let's do the visual drill. You'll need the card pack for this one. And you're going to say the letter names and then the sound that's being made. Or if you're ready, you can just say the sound. Teacher, you can decide what's appropriate there. So here's how it works. Teacher shows the card and student says, purr. We're being careful to take the sound off of each one, unless there actually is a U there. Okay, so do about 6 to 8 different cards and then come back to me. It's time for the auditory drill. This is where the teacher doesn't show the card. The teacher says, your sound is burr. Can you repeat that sound? Now I'd like you to write down the symbol that goes with burr. Underline it and then say the sound again. Okay, teacher, you can do 6 to 8 cards and then come back to me. It's time for the blending drill. Your teacher has your paper tiles all set up on the table. You're going to tap each sound and say each sound and then underline it and say the whole word. If you're able to simply say the whole word, then that is just fine. Let's move into the review section of the lesson. We've been talking about the closed syllable. Student, can you tell your teacher what makes this word a closed syllable? Now you can do the yes/no card sort. Is it a closed syllable? You don't have to read these words. You simply sort them. By the definition, you'll be able to know exactly if it is or not without even reading. You're just looking for, is there one vowel in the word? And is it followed by one consonant or more? You can have 2 consonants at the end, but at least it has to have one. Let's pound out some syllables. Remember that when we are listening for syllables, what we're really doing is we're listening for the vowel sound in the word. If I said fan, how many times would you pound it out? Let's try it. Fan. I hear the ah sound, so I would let my thumb go loose. How about the word fantastic? How many syllables in that one? Did you say 3? If you did, you're right. Let's try pounding that one out. Fantastic. Okay, let's try another one. Magnet. How many syllables are in magnet? Pound it out. Did you say 2? If you did, good job. Magnet. And if you'd prefer, you can just put your hand under your chin and feel the syllables. Every time a syllable happens, my jaw will hit my hand. Magnet. 2. Fantastic. Because the vowel sounds force my jaw to drop. How about this one? Magnetic. How many in that one? Let's pound that one out. Magnetic. 3. Okay, great work. Let's move on. We're talking about consonant blends, and we did some consonant blends in the last class, and we're going to do some new ones today. What is a consonant blend? Here is an example of a consonant blend. Can you tell your teacher what you know about consonant blends? Have a quick discussion and then come back to me. Your teacher might have this set up on the table for you, but otherwise we'll just do it together. So I'd like you to tap it and say it. What is this word? Did you say drip? If you did, good job. Let's change it. And I'll let your teacher correct you on these ones, so I'll stop saying what the correct word is now. How about this one? Tap it and say it. Okay, let's try a new one. Here's a nonsense word. Okay, let's try a different one. Oh, there's a real word. Okay, let's try a new one. Okay, I'm going to go back to this one. Actually, I'm just going to change the vowel on there too. How about that one? I'm going to turn it into a real word now. How about that one? Okay. And teacher, there's a secondary one that's also on the lesson plan if you wanted to do an ending blend drill, which you're welcome to. You just kind of have your eye on the time and just see if that's going to work. Otherwise, let's just move on. In a consonant blend, we have at least two consonants. The S gets to keep its sound, S, and the C gets to keep its sound, K. We just blend them together. We say them quickly, and they have this blending effect. So instead of being sk, we say sk. It happens very quickly, and that's why we teach this as a concept. Let's go through some new blends. So we have sk, but we say sk. Can you say that sound? Sk. Okay. Let's say the sounds individually, and then we'll say them as a blend. 1, 2, 3. We've got sk, sk. Can you do that? Good. These blends that we're doing right now are ones that you'll often see at the start of a word. S, sm. Can you do that? How about this one? S, sn, as in snail. You try it. Okay. Sp, sp. Your turn. As in spell. How about this one? St, st, as in star. Your turn. How about this one? Sw, sw, as in swan. Try not to say wa. We want w. Sw, sw. And here's another one. Tw, tw. TW actually has a meaning. It means two. So in the words where you see TW, you think, is there a meaning to in that word? Think about twins, two people. Or twine, which is two strings that are wrapped around each other. Between, which is between two halves, right? 20, the word two has TW. So really interesting, that one. There's also some ending blends, ones that you're only going to see on the end of a word. And on my card, I put a little dash to show you that there's something that's coming before it. And then you have the NT, because these are only happen at the end of a word. Nt, nt, as in scent. Can you try that one? Now this is one that you'll see at the front of a word or the end of a word. St, st, as in last. Your turn. Now remember that an X makes the K and the S sound. So we're actually going to have three sounds when we do this. We'll have the T, we'll have the Ks and the T. So let's try to put that all together. Kst, as in next. You hear that? So let's have you do it. Okay. Here is another ending blend. Ulf, ulf, as in golf. You try it. And the last one is ulk, ulk, as in milk. Can you do that one? Let's do a blending drill to practice the new consonant blend sounds. If your teacher has this already on the table, you can just fast forward through this section. Otherwise, you can stay with me and do the drill. So I want you to take two fingers and tap each letter and say the sound it makes, then blend it all together. What's that word? Your teacher will check it, and I will change the word. Okay, tap it and say it. That one's not a real word. Let's change it. How about this one? What's that one? Okay, I'll change it again. How about that one? Okay. Tap it and say it. And let's try a new one. How about that one? And we'll end on this one. Tap it and say it. Let's take a moment to practice the ending blend. Let's try this one. So tap it and say it. Okay, and I'll change the word. What's this one? Tap it and say it. How about this one? Okay, and tap this one and say it. And here's your last one. Okay, great job. Let's move on. It's time for the magnetic letter tile drill. Your sound is S. Can you repeat that sound? Now find the correct tile that goes with S and pull it to the middle. Your next sound is K. Can you repeat that sound? Find the tile that goes with that sound and pull it to the middle. The next sound is Ah. Can you repeat that sound? Now find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. The last sound is Can you repeat that sound? Find the tile for and pull it to the middle. Now tap each sound and say the whole word. What'd you get? Did you get scam? If you did, good job. Now that's a tricky one because we've learned the SC blend and the SK blend. And you really do just have to remember which words are the SCs and which words are the SKs. It's interesting that the ones that are SK come to us often through the Vikings. Words like skate and ski. So this one was an SC one. Can you put your tiles away and we'll do one more word? Okay. Your sound is B. Can you repeat that sound? Now find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. Your next sound is Eh. Can you repeat that sound? Now find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. Your next sound is N. Find the right tile and pull it to the middle. And your last sound is T. Can you repeat that sound? Find the right tile and pull it to the middle. Now tap and say each sound and then underline it and say the whole word. Did you get bent? Good job. Okay, it's time for your single word list. You will read through the list and there'll be some nonsense words and mostly real words. And then it's time for your story. Do those activities and then come back to me. Let's do our next magnetic letter tile drill. So get your board out and I'm going to tell you that your word is dust. Can you repeat that word? Now can you use the word dust in a sentence? I will dust my house. What's the first sound that you hear in the word dust? Find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. What's the next sound that you hear in the word dust? Find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. What's the third sound that you hear in the word dust? Find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. And what's the last sound that you hear in the word dust? Find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. Now tap each tile and say each sound, and then underline it and say the whole word. How'd you do? Okay, put your tiles back and we'll do one more word. Okay, here's a tricky one. This one has a blend on the front and a blend on the end. Your word is spilt, as in I spilt the milk. Can you think of a sentence with the word spilt in it? Okay, what's the first sound that you hear in the word spilt? Find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. What's the second sound that you hear in the word spilt? Find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. What's the third sound that you hear in the word spilt? Find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. What's the fourth sound that you hear in the word spilt? Find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. And what's the last sound that you hear in the word spilt? Find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. Now tap each one, say the sound it makes, and then underline it and say the whole word. Did you get S-P-I-L-T? If you did, good job. You can put your tiles away, and we're going to do some tapping and actual writing of individual words. So you need your pencil and some lined paper, and we'll begin by tapping it out and saying each sound before we write it. So your word is spit. Let's tap out the sounds that we hear in the word spit. Say it as you tap it. And then grab the whole word and pull the word across and say the whole word. And now you can try and write down the word spit. Okay, for the next one you can trace. So you can use your leg or your arm or your hand or wherever you want to trace, and you'll say the sounds as you trace the letters on your body, and then you'll write it down with your pencil. Your word is past. In the past, I used to play soccer. Past. So let's trace it out and say the sounds as you trace, and then grab the whole word and pull it across, and then you can write it down. Teacher, you can check the work. Okay, if there's time, then teacher, you can have the student write one more word, and your student can decide if they'd like to tap or trace for that one. And then it's time for sentences. So teacher, I'd like you to read out the 3 sentences that are listed on the page, and you can have the student write 2 of those sentences of their choice. After each sentence, I want you to use chops to check your work. Let's do a quick review before you go. This is a closed syllable. Student, can you tell your teacher why this is a closed syllable? Okay. And if I said, how many syllables are in the word sit? How many would you pound out for that one? Remember that a syllable is when you hear a vowel sound. For that one, I would just go sit, because I just hear that is sound in sit. How about the word fantastic? How many syllables? Fantastic. Did you say 3? If you did, good job. And the last concept today is we were talking about consonant blends. What is a consonant blend? Student, can you tell your teacher that and then come back to me? Well, great work today. That was lesson 13. This is Shawna Odette from the Flying Cat Academy.